Hey, happy Tuesday, Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us on the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and today we are talking about upgraded Hurricane Helene. Yes, this morning you are waking up to a hurricane, not a tropical storm anymore. And on top of that, rapid intensification is expected over the next 24 hours. So Helene is not only bringing that flood, wind, and storm surge threat, but also a tornado threat, and not to the area of the country that you would expect that to be in. We are also giving you a recap of those storms yesterday. We had a 5-star hail map yesterday across Edmond, Oklahoma City, and even a 3-star hail map down in DFW in Texas near Dallas. So we will talk about those that hailstorm as well. But first, let me bring you out to the east, where we had several lines of showers and thunderstorms yesterday, obviously producing that high wind threat. That's what's highlighted here in blue. We also saw that hail threat. There were a lot of these storms highlighted there in green. So not only was Oklahoma and Texas in the line of that hail threat yesterday, but you can see Tennessee, Kentucky, the Virginias, as well as the Carolinas also included in that hail threat yesterday. We even saw a few tornadoes up to the north as well. So a lot of us saw those strong to severe thunderstorms yesterday. I want to take you farther back to the west, down to the plains. That is where we saw that hailer. I mean, just this one storm started up in Piedmont, continued all the way down through Oklahoma City, producing a ton of hail in its path up to baseball-sized hail here, which is why we are in green today, which is why I'm keying out on the green screen here. Who says meteorologists can't wear green? We say we can. So hail trace dresses in green whenever we have a 5-star hail map, and that is what this little sucker did up in Piedmont, continued across Edmond, continued through the east side of Oklahoma City, even as far down south as Norman. We saw just tons of hail through this area, anywhere from Rose Creek to Quail Creek, all the way down through several hospitals just near the between Broadway Extension and I-35. And then this thing continued down near Norman, and you can see just how many hail reports that we got. That is not including the area that our meteorologist tracked hail as well. So let me actually show you that map that our meteorologist tracked. We saw baseball-sized hail up here in northern Oklahoma City and in southern Edmond. That was the maximum hail size, baseball-sized hail. We also we had over 88,000 homes impacted here just in Oklahoma City. That's not including Dallas. So let me take you down a little bit farther to the south. This isn't the same storm, but a different storm you can see popped up near Frisco and Plano and continued just barely getting some hail in Dallas as well. Now their hail size was a little bit smaller, not by much, 2-inch size hail. That's egg-sized hail, but more homes were impacted down in Dallas. 93,000 homes impacted down in Dallas. So that was a 3-star map yesterday, that Oklahoma City map, a 5-star map, and we have all kinds of pictures and videos, just absolutely shocking images on our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, we posted on that social media site yesterday as the storm was happening and even afterwards as we were getting more pictures in. Now moving to what we are seeing today, okay? So we've got those showers and storms anywhere from our New England states all the way down to the deep south today. You can see we've got a line of showers and storms that are causing a little bit of every hazard here. We've got that tornado threat, we've got that hail threat, and we've got that wind threat today. Now tomorrow, we have an additional threat for strong to severe thunderstorms with this now officially Hurricane Helene, moving to the north, making landfall in Florida tomorrow. And we'll talk about that after we get through those threats today. Oh, hello, Siri. Siri is trying to join our forecast here. Let's get to your temperatures here. It's okay, Siri, I've got it. 78 is your current temperature here in Oklahoma City, 76 up in Kansas City. We've got 70 degrees in Okmulgee. It looks like we're pretty clear out there as well. Few clouds hanging around Dallas today. 72 in Dallas. These are gorgeous temperatures. We will take it. Very, very few weeks in Oklahoma and Texas do we get that fall-like feel to the air, and we have really lucked out over the last few days feeling fall-like weather. We're not the only ones. Check out how many people are in the 70s across the U.S. We've got 73 in Memphis, 75 in Detroit, 79 in Baker, 74 in Denver. So we've got a lot of 70s across the U.S. But that's probably not why you're here. Let's talk about those storms. We have some unstable air across Texas, Louisiana, the deep south all the way into Florida. We have unstable air coming in mainly from this hurricane, but we also have a chance for some hail a little bit farther to the north as well, as we've got a front that stretches all the way up to the north. So let me get to that hail map here. There you go, significant hail model highlighted there in yellow, really showing that, that area that we're watching for hail today. So let's get right into it. It's a low chance, but we're still watching it in Charlotte all the way up to the Virginias, and then farther down to the south. What we're watching for here is quarter-sized hail. The hail size here, I'm not terribly impressed with. We're going to see better chances for showers and storms on the eastern side of this polygon here, and more isolated chances a little bit farther down to the south and west. So I have a low risk level, a low risk for large hail is what we're talking about here, but still possible. I think one of the bigger risks here is going to be the wind risk, and of course we have that tornado risk later on today as well. Here you go. Here's your future radar here. We can kind of zoom down into this area where we're watching for a few of these cores to produce some of that hail up to the size of a quarter. As I mentioned, wind is going to be the bigger factor today, and this will continue through the afternoon hours, wrapping up as we head into the evening. However, one thing that I want to mention is that storm threat that goes all the way down into Florida, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a few minutes, but you can see some of the outer bands from this hurricane slowly starting to move into Florida later on tonight and into tomorrow, and that's going to create a tornado threat in that area, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But still sticking on today, we have that wind threat highlighted there in blue. I went ahead and upgraded that from that low risk to a moderate risk there. So that's what's highlighted here in yellow. So that's a level 2 for the chance for strong wind speeds today. And that not only extends through a good portion of just off the East Coast here, maybe even up to the Ohio Valley, southern side of the Ohio Valley, but even down as far south as Corpus Christi, all the way into Texas. So that's including Houston here, with some of those stronger wind speeds. But I did keep this risk level on the low side because I think these storms are going to be very isolated. Today's max forecasted hail size on the smaller side. Yesterday we had hen egg, baseball sized hail size. Today we're going down a little bit. I think most of those hail sizes are going to be quarter sized or smaller, but could we get up to an isolated ping pong ball sized hailstone? I think that's possible. It'll be very, very isolated though. All right, let's talk about that tornado threat for today. This extends anywhere from Atlanta to Charlotte, all the way down to Florida, most of Florida included in this here. What we're watching for here is most of Florida is going to be from those hurricane bands moving to the north. And then that tornado threat anywhere from Atlanta all the way up to Charlotte is going to be from that front that's sitting right along this area today. These are going to be spin up tornadoes. I guess down in Florida, it's going to be a spin up tornado for the most part as well. Could you get some isolated supercells down here? I think that's possible, but it is going to be more probable down in Florida than it will be up to the north in places like Charlotte. But we can take a look at that here. You can see some of those outer bands creating convection across Florida here, across the peninsula. So landfall is going to be closer to the panhandle, or even what our CEO Derek Klein likes to call the armpit of Florida here. That's where landfall is going to occur. But the threats from this storm, from this hurricane, is going to stretch all the way through the peninsula and then all the way up the East Coast, not all the way up, but pretty far up to like South Carolina area, and then through the deep south as well. So we're going to see a lot of impacts. This thing is pretty big. Okay, so let's continue here. You can see those isolated storms could create that tornado threat as this continues to move to the north. And you can see we're not even at landfall yet. This hurricane has barely made it onto this map view right now, and we're already seeing the impacts. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the tropics here. Spaghetti plots, pretty much in agreement where this is going to make landfall. For the most part, we've got several of these models here in agreement that this is going to make landfall in the Florida Panhandle. Are a few kind of going to the west, maybe one to the east? Yes, but I'll show you the cone in a minute, and we'll talk about where this could make landfall at. After this makes landfall, it's going to go up the north through Georgia, and then it's going to do something a little funky. It's going to bring rain all through the weekend through this area. We're talking about flooding risks anywhere from Tennessee to Kentucky, Illinois, all the way to Missouri and Arkansas included in that flooding risk. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's return to the hurricane. So here we are, Hurricane Helene. Wind right now, 80 miles an hour, moving to the northwest at 10 miles an hour. Current pressure, 979, not bad. This is a Category 1 hurricane right now, expected to rapidly intensify to a Category 2 hurricane by this evening, 7 o'clock this evening at least. Category 3 hurricane as you are waking up tomorrow morning, wind speeds at this point at 120 miles an hour. Now this is before it even makes landfall, and a few models want this to continue to intensify as this makes landfall. What does that mean? That means that those wind speeds at the surface could be stronger than what you see here. So we're going to continue here, moving this up, landfall near Tallahassee, 125. Yep, we were just talking about that intensification here by Thursday evening, if not Thursday night, depending on what time zone you're in, depending on if this slows down or speeds up. There you go, Tallahassee, right there. Panama City, right on the outside of the cone here. So what we were just talking about, some models want to wiggle to the east, some to the west. If you're in Panama City, I would still make sure that you are prepared, because just a few miles to the west here could bring you some pretty strong winds. We're talking about flooding and that storm risk, that tornado risk, farther out to the east. All right, taking a look at Friday, after this makes landfall, about 12 hours later, this is still a tropical storm. This holds its strength for quite a ways inland. 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds as this continues into Tennessee. Now, low pressure system by the time we get to Saturday, this is your flooding threat here. Alrighty, continuing on to, I think I have your watches and warnings next. There you go, hurricane warning goes through Thursday evening into as late as Friday morning. Highlighted here in red, which does include some places that you wouldn't often see a hurricane warning. Do you think this area often sees hurricane warnings? Not often, no, not at all. So we've got a good portion of Florida here, and then we've got a good portion of Georgia as well included in that hurricane warning. And I zoomed out to give you, this looks messy, but I zoomed out to give you a little bit better of an idea of the watches and warnings here. Hurricane warning anywhere from Florida to Georgia. A little bit farther up to the north, we've got a tropical storm watch, tropical storm warning highlighted in this maroon dark red color right here. So, I mean, a good portion of Georgia very, very, very rarely sees a tropical storm warning, a hurricane warning. And this even tropical storm watch continues all the way up into South and North Carolina there. So we've got a good portion of the U.S. included in these hazards, and we haven't even talked about the tornado risk yet. So here's your tornado forecast for tomorrow. Oftentimes, the Storm Prediction Center will stick with this yellow color, that level 2 color for your tornado forecast, especially this far out. Your tornado risk, most of the time, level 2. What we have here, 24 hours out, or I guess a little bit over 24 hours out here, is a level 3 risk. for tornado risk. Could that go up? It's possible. I think that they're going to stick with what they have here for the most part. But yeah, Thursday we could see a pretty widespread tornado hazard as well. We were talking about flooding. Now this is your 5-day flood rain chances here. We're looking at double-digit rainfall totals all the way through Georgia, all the way up the panhandle of Florida, continuing into Tennessee and even portions of the Carolinas. A lot of these really plentiful rainfall totals will go as far west as Memphis, maybe into Arkansas, southern sides of Missouri, and then continuing up even into portions of the Midwest here. So look at the rest of the country. Completely dry. It's like we're all just like watching this happen. I hope that they are prepared. Make sure that if you are out in this area or if you have any friends in this area, they are prepared for not only that severe weather risk, the high winds, the storm surge, the tornado threat, the flooding threat as well, because we could see some really high rainfall totals in this area. Today at 4 o'clock, if you have not gotten your tropical fix yet, at 4 o'clock, we're going to be doing an update with Derek Klein, our CEO here at Hail Trace. He is going to be talking us through a lot of the forecasting materials that he uses to track hurricanes. He's a really, really good forecaster, and he is going to be talking us through some of the tools that he uses and what he thinks the biggest update is at that time. So 4 o'clock, put it on your calendars, 4 o'clock Central Time. We'll be live on Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. There you go. Alrighty, let's take a look at your future temperatures here. We're at 79 tomorrow afternoon, holding on to the 70s for a little bit. 78 here in Oklahoma City by Friday. We've got the 70s pretty widespread across the country on Friday. Down to the south and west, we start to warm up. By Friday into Saturday, temperatures are really trying to go back up into the 90s in Salt Lake City. We've got the 80s down in Albuquerque, and even finally getting out of the 70s and into the 80s here in Oklahoma City. Continuing as we head into the weekend, I think temperatures will inch just a little bit higher than that, especially farther out to the south and west, where you can see we're going to trend above average, not only in our western communities, but also through the Midwest and portions of our New England communities as well. As we mentioned earlier, very, very dry across the central and western portion of the U.S., where we see all of that excessive rainfall or rainfall totals above average farther out to the east. Alrighty, thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. That was a full forecast. Again, if you want more pictures and maps of the hail that we saw yesterday, head over to hailtrace.com. We put pictures also on our social media, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I guess pictures and videos in this area of what we saw from the hail yesterday, from that hailer that came through Oklahoma City and DFW. And temperatures, oh my gosh, it's been a day, y'all. And for wind, hail, and tornado maps, there you go. Give us a call at 855-334-4245. Email us at info@hailtrace.com or head over to our website, hailtrace.com. You can order a hail, wind, tornado map or even get a report from us. Alrighty, have a fantastic Wednesday. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock for that tropical update.